Welcome to Tamara Tattletales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Hi, I'm Tamara from Tamara Tattletales, and today I am coming to you with a very special video. I was granted the opportunity to have a one-on-one chat with Ryan from season 13 of Married at First Sight. He opened up to me about what type of woman he's attracted to, his role in the Zach and Michaela situation at the retreat, his struggles with his relationship on the show, and so much more. Let's get into it. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being here. I'm so excited to meet you and have this conversation.
Oh, thanks for having me, Tamara Queen. We'll figure out the names going forward.
Yes, I was trying to give him different names to call me because Tamara just didn't feel right. It feels like it should be more regal. So we'll work on that throughout the hour or 45 minutes, whatever this ends up being. But
As much time you need.
Oh, cool. So let's start off with just kind of what you do for a living, because I know that you are an oil and gas liaison,
Yeah.
and to me, I think it's pretty obvious that that means that you're a party planner for oil and gas tycoons. But go ahead and say it in your own words.
I mean, that's not too far off from the truth. I'm kind of the middleman from. I'm very proficient with like field operations. Coming from just my background has always been oil and gas, but
Okay.
no, I kind of filter out the field personnel to the ownership executives, and I do wear a lot of hats in my profession. I joke about like the filter between that and stuff, but anything on the production side of operations for oil and gas is going to be pretty much my hands are going to be in on it.
All right, that made absolutely no sense to me, but I'm going to go ahead and move on. Hopefully, sounds like you have a good job. Let's put it that way. So one thing that was kind of made clear during the show is that you are definitely on those dating apps. You cannot be on a dating app for longer than a month and not have like a horror story or some kind of crazy story. So do you have a funny story? So do you have like a story that you can share with us, like a horror story, crazy story?
I have a very horror story for that.
Ooh,
Several, but
sure.
one in particular, it definitely stands out. I go to Dallas a lot, so I had matched with a girl in Dallas, and she was an NFL cheerleader. She was very attractive, and
Okay. Okay.
um, she said she wants me to come stay with her. I got my bag
Ooh.
packed, I got my computer, I can work from here. My friends are in Dallas. Like, yeah, we'll make a few day trip out of it. And the second I pulled in, and she was outside on the phone, like telling me where to park. I knew I was in trouble. I texted my buddy and I was like, you gotta get me out of here. You gotta help. She had changed a lot, and it was, oh man, I don't want to. It was not what I was expecting, and it's hard to. You're in
Wait,
that
wait, 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 wait.
situation.
No, wait, not with that. So was this like she was the picture was like 50 pounds ago that she sent you? Is that
That's
kind of
I mean
situation?
that's I guess that's one way to put it. Yeah. Um,
100? Like, was it more?
no,
Was it
50's fair. 50's fair, but man, I'm just over here with my suitcase and like, oh, let's. I got a whole week, and I just hit the jackpot, man. And I was like, oh, I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true.
catfished? Ugh.
Oh, that's
Wait,
the only
so
time I can ever recall like seriously getting catfish, something like that. But
what did you
uh,
do?
I actually ended up staying. I couldn't get out of there. I got there at like 6 that evening,
Mm-hmm.
and the next morning, as soon as I could, I was like, I got to go back into work. Something just happened. Like I was on my laptop working as soon as I could wake up that morning, and I was like, oh, I have to go into the office, and I literally drove right back to Houston, probably by 8:30 a.m. the next morning. But it was an awkward situation for sure. I had my dog, like it was a whole thing.
You were like moving in. You were ready.
I've never in my life done that before, or definitely not after. I don't know, but just a warning for everybody: you got to FaceTime. You got to get on
Mhm.
FaceTime before you go and just show up with a suitcase.
I hate to break this to you, but you might be one of the few who actually pack a bag on the first date. I'm just
Oh my
saying.
God. Hey, it's kind of how my marriage worked out too. You just pack a bag and you're married. So
That's
it
true.
was
You
it
are
was
a
it
risk
was
taker.
it was prep for marrying a stranger, I guess.
Well, let's actually kind of, I guess, get into the marriage of the stranger. Well, first of all, how did you get on the show? Did you apply for it? Did someone scout you out?
I knew of the show. My sister was friends with a previous cast member out of Dallas, Tristan. I was at the gym, got a very random voicemail, and texted him back immediately and was like, "Yeah, I'm familiar with the show. I'm interested." Found out I had a match, and
The rest is
then
history.
and then shortly, literally 3 days after I got a match, I thought I was not going to be on the show any longer because I got COVID.
Oh, you did?
They delayed. They sent everybody home for 3 weeks. Weddings and everything were delayed for 3 weeks because I got it, and it wasn't. It was pretty bad actually.
Let's talk about your type. I hear this all the time on social media. Everyone's always going at you according to your type. But before you tell me your type, I feel like there's categories to it, right? Because there's like what your type is physically, and then
Yeah.
also what your type can be personality and lifestyle wise. So I want you to break it down because I want to answer this question for once and for all. Let's start with the physical, head to
Yeah.
toe. What's important to you? If it's not important to you, go ahead and skip it. But like literally, starting with the head down to the toes. What's your type? Go.
Head down to the toes.
Yeah.
Natural hair color was something that I said. I really don't have a preference. I've dated blonde. I've dated brunette. I've married red. Physically, athletic build is kind of what I'm always looking for. Straight
Straight
brunette, and I
hair.
know
Okay.
everybody thinks that I want this bleach blonde girl, and that's not the case. My two of my most serious relationships have not been with girls with blonde hair. So yeah,
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
where that stereotype came from with me, but it is what it is, I guess.
It is. Yes. Okay. So are you a boob man?
I don't know. It's definitely like a case by case thing for me. I appreciate all that. So
Okay, and an athletic build. Okay, so like I still want to get more clarity. So let's see. I'm gonna let's if you had to pick from these various pictures, like if one of these girls approached you, which one would have the best chance with you physically, just based on the body alone?
physically would be two.
Two. Okay, so you like a petite girl.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Okay.
not talking like number 9 is definitely not what I'm looking for. Um,
No. Okay.
I
A
just
little intimidating.
Yeah, she would beat me up for sure.
So-
I've dated the majority of those types, I can assure you.
Oh, you have. Okay. Okay.
I don't like
Yeah.
model
Like
rail thin girls at all.
yeah, you want a little something to grab onto, right?
Bingo.
Okay, okay. So let's go with the personality wise and lifestyle. Like, what are you looking for?
I feel like confidence goes a long way. I feel like if somebody's confident, it's going to bring out so many other qualities as far as just self worth. I mean, just how you carry yourself. It goes a long way. No, and I can't say that I even carry myself in that way all the time because I do not, and it's something that I do work on. And yeah, confidence is not an easy thing for everybody, and it's something that I've definitely fought through, and I feel like I'm in a good place now, but I haven't always been the most confident person.
Overall, then, in terms of physicality and personality wise, would you say that Brett was your type?
Personality wise, Brett was absolutely my type. She was very bubbly. She got along with everybody. She charismatic, competitive, which was big for me. That's the best thing we had going for us was our competitive nature. Everything we did, we kind of made a game out of, a competition out of, and we kind of
Hmm.
thrived in that setting. I don't know if I answered your
So,
question there.
well, no, you skipped the physical part if she was your type.
Oh, uh, physically, she was close to my type. I feel like I'm not gonna say she wasn't my type because she is athletic build. I've always said that Brett's a very attractive girl. I still will say that.
No. Yeah, Brett is beautiful. Yeah, she is stunning. I think so. So let's talk about the dating app.
I would
but
love
before
to
we
talk about this.
but before we get into that, let's just remind ourselves that you were labeled as the serial dater by Married at First Sight. So tell me your line of reasoning that led up to you downloading an app. Like, were you afraid that you were going to run out of app space on your telephone or something? Like, why did you download the app when you did?
Yeah, and I do want to say, like, I've had to. That's been the main thing that's came up after this is like everyone's like, oh, you've dated these 1,000 women. I was like, I never said that. My buddy said that, and everybody labels me as like I said 50 women in 3 years. Like
Ah.
I don't feel like that's crazy, but everybody sticks to those thousands of women. I'm like, that's literally impossible. The whole dating app thing was literally I opened it. I thought I was gonna have to, and this was days before decision. Like this is the week of decision day, or week going into decision day. It was very into the process, and I downloaded, hit the little cloud button just because I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to input these pictures back into this profile because I mean it tells you, are you sure you want to delete all the data? And you're like, yep, I do.
Mhm.
But then I hit the cloud button and everything's there. I have all these pending messages, all these pending matches, and I'm like, have I been active like this whole time? Because it was never like I was never there just swiping away and match with one of her friends. Like the app was on my phone for minutes.
But why
And
even
then
mess with the app at this point? Because you're still taping the show and you're still
yeah,
technically married. So why
no.
even go there?
After decision day, we had like 2 weeks before our names were out there, and we couldn't do that. So me and another guy on the show had kind of talked about this days leading up to the dating app fiasco.
Who? You know I'm gonna ask
uh,
you
his name starts with a Z, and
that.
he
Okay.
he was very he's like I'm not doing it, which um, he didn't do it. But of course, my dumb ass was like, well, we're only gonna have 2 weeks to be on dating apps, and this is the dating that I know. I'm gonna be swiping away those 2 weeks. So yeah, I downloaded the app and with the mindset that I was gonna get it ready for the following week when we had this little amount of time, and it was definitely I'll say the biggest mistake I made on the show outside of not having the communication earlier on with Brett when we were having issues, but it was definitely top two on the list of screw ups by me, and yeah, it was stupid, and I wish I could take that back because that was very disrespectful to her, even though it wasn't ever my intentions of her seeing that or it being out in any way, but it happened and definitely didn't game plan for that either.
So you were really anxious to get back into the dating scene, even though you were technically married. You didn't care. You're just like, whatever. I just want to start dating again.
I really think I just needed that distraction, and I was ready for a distraction, and it was it was it was horrible timing, and I haven't re-downloaded it since, and I've had months now to do it, and I'm like so traumatized from that setting. I'm like, no, I'm still staying away from it, and because I know the second I get back on them, somebody's gonna see it and be like, look at this asshole.
Over. Okay, so you two just got married. They whisked the two of you off to have like a conversation. But here's the thing: you have a production crew, and I would assume at least like two cameras in your face, listening to every word.
Yeah,
So, like, what was that like? Like, were you able to concentrate? And long did it take you to get comfortable with the cameras in your face, if you ever did?
it was tough because honestly, you're getting pulled so many different directions. I joke that I'm envious of our families because they got to enjoy the wedding way more
Than
than
you
we
did.
did. As yeah, they had a party before. They stayed there for hours after we left, and
Really?
I saw footage. I saw pictures of them running around with my friends had their shirts off, and there was all the families were together just having a good time, and we kind of felt like we missed out a little bit on a party.
Now, had you ever been on television before?
No,
No. Okay.
not that I'm aware of.
No high speed chase or anything.
No, no.
Okay, so I want to fast forward a little bit to the honeymoon. I'm going to show you this clip and then I'm going to ask you about it.
Okay. Like that on a plane in a dating scenario, I would have definitely never been on a plane with them again because I probably wouldn't be dating them anymore.
Okay, I saw that. The first thing that came to mind was Bridesmaids, like when like she was just like maybe had too much Ambien. I'm like, oh my God, did Brett get on the speakerphone and
There's the
say that there's
the
like a
butter
colonial woman
churning
on the
lady.
way? Yeah. So what happened? I want to know what happened on the
uh,
plane.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. No, I don't think there was any like anything involved other than just we hit turbulence on the landing, and I had my arm squeezed the shit out of my arm, and like her head was buried in between the seats. And I remember this little child behind with his parents, and yeah, probably made a child cry.
Yeah.
That actually happened.
But what
Like
was, I mean, but how was just grabbing an arm making a child cry? Was
no,
she
like
screaming or
her head was in between the seats, like she was, and that
like facing, like she turned around and like was
turned
facing between the
around with,
seats?
yeah, her face was in between the seats, like facing backwards, and that's why I was made the comment about the kid, because the kid with his family was behind us, and this was like a 4-year-old child, and no, it was, there were tears, and
Oh, she was crying?
it was not a great experience.
Was she like crying hysterically, like an ugly cry, or
No,
was it
no,
just
no,
kind of
no,
like
no.
a whimper? Or
It wasn't extravagant at all. It wasn't a. It was just different for me because I've never been around anybody that had an issue like that as far as flying goes. A lot of people, I know a lot of people don't like flying, but it was just new for me to see somebody react like that.
So one thing I do want to commend you on is like kind of how you handled that situation with Brett when you realized like your feelings weren't growing, especially at the same pace as hers, that you didn't
Yeah.
push the physical. And I really commend you for that because a lot of men, even on this show, would have acted differently. Wait, maybe I'm commending you too soon because I didn't ask you. Did you guys ever have sex?
No, we
No.
never.
Okay. All
No,
right. So
no, we never did anything more than kiss, and I don't. There was
she didn't
never
even do.
groping or
I was
anything. It
gonna say
was
she didn't even do a search and seizure. Yeah, okay.
I,
So
no, and I remember wedding night. I think it was no the morning after. I she was in there brushing her teeth, and I walked in the shower and started showering while she was brushing her teeth. Like I was
wait,
comfortable enough with her, but I
wait.
don't
So
know
she
if
saw you butt naked.
I I don't know if
She
she was.
saw you butt naked. If a man walked
I
behind
was
you
there butt
naked, she
naked,
saw
and
you. Yeah.
she might have
Oh,
peeked.
okay.
She was discreet about it if
Oh,
she did, but
yeah, she was discreet because she peeked. Oh yeah, you're gonna peek, and it's your husband. You want to know what he's
yeah,
working with. Oh yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. She got to see you.
I didn't have any moments like that to where I could peek.
You didn't get a sneak. Okay.
No,
Sneak peek.
but
So
no, and I feel like a lot of people try to progress a relationship by doing that, and that's not something I wanted to
mhm.
do with Brett, because I mean I do respect her feelings and emotions, and that just takes it to a whole nother level. And granted, we're married, and I don't, people some people thought it would be helpful if we progressed that, and it just wasn't something that I was comfortable doing, and
Yeah.
I think it would have made it more, not that I was ever uncomfortable with Brett, but I think that could have potentially made it uncomfortable if we did cross that and got to that point, and
Especially
still,
if it didn't work.
yeah, exactly.
If it didn't work. If it worked, then you get commended for it. But if it doesn't work, like why'd you sleep with her if you weren't telling her? You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah.
like a win-lose situation in that case. So you had been saying that you were waiting, to feel sparks. So does that mean that you two didn't have good chemistry? Like was something wrong?
And that's what's so frustrating for me, because I feel like we hit it off very, very well. We did have chemistry off the bat, and then it just didn't progress like I anticipated that it would. I was expecting how quickly it built initially to kind of continue, and I feel like we got so comfortable so early on. It was kind of deflating that it didn't get any further than that, because I feel like out of the gate we were one of the, if not the strongest couple between anybody. Like I felt really good about
Mm,
where we were going into the honeymoon, and I remember some of the guys on the show coming up to me and be like, "Man, y'all are a really good spot," and I agreed with them. We were in a good spot. Um, it never progressed. It didn't go to the next step, and I just I want to say that she definitely put in more effort to get there than I did. and I can admit that, but I was just so frustrated with the lack of what was happening with us that it was just hard. I would have felt like I wasn't being genuine to her or myself if I did put in more of that.
Well, kind of that's still kind of gonna go, or not still, that kind of takes me into like your communication style, like in relationships. One thing that seemed apparent is that you don't seem to like to tell your significant other when you have a problem with something that they've done or said, or like you relaying your emotions.
Yeah.
So, like, kind of in a Dr. Phil kind of way, like, how is that working out for you?
Yeah, I know that I'm very difficult to read in relationships, and it's been an issue in the past, and obviously in front of everybody in this as
Mhm.
this unfolded. Um, we had the conversations about I'm really struggling with getting to that next step with you because I knew that I'm not gonna say I knew, but in my mind she was ready, and I feel like it was made out to be like she was blindsided with my feelings, and that wasn't the case. Like we talked about this stuff literally in the bed going to sleep. We would have these conversations. Even I mean, just from the first night conversation, I knew that she's all in or she's done. And if I would have been more open about how I was feeling as far as me not thinking that I was going to get there, then I mean you saw it when it did come out. It was no turning back. It was done.
I feel like there was some things that may have turned you off about Brett. Like, for example, this, like the
Yeah.
dirty rooms, and you'd mentioned to your sister about her leaving like clothes in the washing machine. Um, do you think that some of this kind of played a factor into you not feeling sparks for her, like like her cleanliness, because that could be a turnoff.
That's kind of how the honeymoon. That's how one of the bathrooms were at the honeymoon, and we talked about it.
Mm.
And she was like, "Look, we're living out of suitcases." I can't. It was so hard to get past that, honestly. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like that, and and I've been to her apartment. It doesn't look like that.
But right, but
Making that
either way, that does kind of play in. Now, was that just in her bedroom, or was it also other places, bedroom and bathroom, or was that also like in the kitchen, the living room? Was she that way as
no,
well?
no. The room that we were mainly staying in was clean. The living room was always clean, outside of a time where Maisie ate a plant, and it was pure chaos. But no, that and I had never even been in that room. So as I'm walking through, that was my first time to even see that. I didn't know what I was. I saw the bed, and I was like, "Hold on."
I want to ask you about your sister talking to Brett and telling her
Yeah.
that she thought that you were distracted and maybe interested in someone else. Like, did you feel like she threw you under the bus? Like, how did you feel? What was that conversation with your sister when you found that out?
My sister, after watching, because I didn't know that it happened. Brett and I had talked about it, and she had mentioned that my sister kind of insinuated that, but that's not the story that I had even gotten from my sister. My sister had kind of told me after that Brett thought I was distracted. So I was like, well, I mean, I could see why she said that.
Mm,
But then after watching it, I watched it for the first time on Unfiltered, and I was like, whoa, I was like, that's not how that was presented to me at all.
wow.
And she was so worried that I was just going to be so upset with her, which it is not great to see that. I mean, I felt it was a little deceiving on how it was presented to me, but the way it came out and the way it was said, it was definitely throwing me under the bus to an extent, and it painted a not great picture for me, and it was kind of a picture that I feel like a lot of people were kind of already
Holding on
assuming.
to.
So yeah, exactly.
Did you
So
like, but did you get really mad at your sister? What was that conversation like? What were you doing? Like, why'd you say that?
no, she knew I wasn't happy about it, and she said that's not how she had anticipated it either. But she's right. I mean, she did live with me for years, and she has seen me do some questionable things. So
Oops,
I
there
just
it
wish,
is. Huh?
yeah. I mean, it's a conversation that I wish she would have had with me before saying something to that magnitude, because I mean it's tough coming back from something like that.
So at the couples retreat, when Zach and Michaela storm out, you said something about this is not healthy to Michaela before she started yelling at you to get into the car. What did you say to her?
Bao and I were talking to Zach, and he was leaving regardless of how Michaela came out and reacted. And he was like, "No, I promise I'm fine. I'll text you when I get back. Like, I promise I'm fine." He's like, "It's better for me to leave." And then she comes outside and escalates it again in my mind, and it was.
But what did you say?
I said this. I basically just told her this isn't helping. Like, we're calming him down, and this is back up to the escalation that he had just walked away from. And I've never been in a situation like that.
Yeah, that's the most energy I'd seen you had all season. No, you guys were
Lay
sitting
under the
outside.
car.
Yeah, you guys were like a group of you guys were out there by the fire and stuff. So like what was your conversation? Like what was your take on that? Because you could hear her slamming things around, right?
We
In the
couldn't
house.
hear any of that outside. We kind of got alerted that Zach was going to leave, and that we need to try to prevent that from happening.
Mm.
So they came up to me, and I think Val was next to me. But yeah, we were outside chilling, having s'mores, and having a good time. I had no
Okay.
idea what was going on inside, and then that happened, and it's just crazy though, because that was it had to have been overwhelming for him, because I mean, you see him walk out the door, and it's just everybody's on him, as far as like you knew. And I hadn't experienced it with the dating app yet, but that's kind of how I felt then, where everybody just swarms in on you. And I saw everybody swarming on him in that moment. I was like, oh man, something's happening. But yeah, again,
Yeah.
was joking with him, trying to calm him down, seeing if there's anything that we could do. And then she comes outside saying she doesn't have a ride, and yelling and stuff at him. And I'm like, and that's when you could just see him just, come on, guys, please let me leave. Please let me leave.
And that was another thing I wanted to ask about because she kept saying she didn't have a ride, but all of you guys live in the same place. How come she couldn't have ridden with one of you all?
I mean, I don't know. I don't. It's definitely something that could have happened. I don't know why.
Mhm.
Because I think she was trying to leave that night. But I think she got picked up at like 4 a.m. or something. Because I didn't even. It didn't wake me up, and I was sleeping right next to the door, so it happened super early. Yeah, we were all we were very confused in the morning as far as how that ended up, and I think Val kind of cleared it up because she was there for most of it.
Do you feel like some people use that as a crutch, like being able to do those group things instead of deal with their relationships? They hung out with the group.
Yeah, I'll absolutely admit that I did that. I did that often.
Mm.
I feel like we were better in the group setting a lot of time throughout this, and yeah, I would use that because that would be the times that we had more fun, and we just never grew into that one-on-one quality time enjoyment that needed to happen. She would probably tell you the same thing, that she enjoyed the group stuff more than just the time with me, and that's fair.
And so while you were waiting for those feelings to develop, what was your expectation of Brett? Like, were you expecting her to continue to just give 100% and be the perfect wife, or her perception of what a great wife would be in the meantime?
Yeah, and that's what was most difficult for me, I think, because even in our toughest times where I was the most frustrated with us not growing, like she would write me notes and stuff, and it was just the cutest, like everything I wanted. But just her little gestures that she did were great, and that's I appreciated it. But it just I couldn't get there, and it made me feel like I was failing her and myself, because she's putting in all this effort, and
Okay. Well, I asked that question because it seemed like it took you a while to kind of decide whether you were kind of going to be in this or not. So I'm just wondering, like, where like, as the other person, like me being Brett, I was just like, okay, either you're into me or you're not. Like at
yeah.
some point, I'm going to need you to give me something, because just expect me to just keep giving 110 and you're just kind of vacillating, like, try something else. No, try something else. Like obviously you weren't doing that, but that's what it's going to start to feel like. Like
And I think
what did you
I think I was, yeah, I think I was kind of waiting for that. I think I was waiting for her to be like, "Look, dude, are you into me or not?" Like, and
mm.
it never happened. Yeah.
Do you feel like you just weren't kind of honoring your feelings? Because to me, it just seemed like you just weren't into her, period.
I didn't want to give up on it. I wasn't. I tried so hard to convince myself that I wasn't checked out, And even though my actions were showing otherwise, because I just can't, it was hard for me to show anything other than that. But it was really a struggle with me internally that I battled myself a lot throughout the season on what anything that could have helped, but also trying to do it with her feelings in mind. And I think I might have overthought about her feelings through this, and I should have said, I know I should have said more.
Yeah, I would just say always just kind of speak your truth, because that's
Yeah,
always kind of get you through it. At the end of the day, no one can ever dispute what your truth
yeah,
is. Because I remember there
yeah,
was times when you're saying, "Well, I want her to read my actions," by like I'm doing
yeah,
things, and I'm not sure what those you thought those actions were, but like nobody likes a mime. So
yeah.
like
No,
say the words.
no, that's for sure one thing that one of a few things that I'm taking out of this is I knew my communication needed work, and this is just another example of me. I can actually watch back how my actions need work now for the first time, and yeah, it's unfortunate that it happened like this, but yeah, it's a learning experience.
I did want to ask you about this young lady that we saw on Where Are They Now? Are you still
Yeah.
seeing her?
No, and Maggie and we've been friends for a couple years, and it was
Mm.
I had hung out with her a couple times in Dallas, and that was the first time that she had even came to Houston. So it was a very new thing. We were getting to know each other, and it was fun. It was good to have her here and get to spend some time with her. But no, it didn't. It did not end up progressing after that. But it's hard for people to understand. But it's not easy to find somebody who is willing to open themselves up for something like this. She got so much backlash out of nowhere because obviously people love Brett, so they're seeing this girl and
Oh,
they're taking out their love for Brett towards hate as this girl. I'm like, man,
oh no, I didn't think of that.
I felt really bad for her and some of the stuff that I read, and I think that made it made it kind of uncomfortable for us as far as us progressing anything goes.
So, are you seeing anyone right now?
I am not. This is honestly the most single I think I've ever been in my life.
Have you and Brett filed for divorce yet?
Yeah, we it was submitted last Monday.
Now that several months have passed, what, if anything, have you changed about yourself?
I've spent a lot more time just not looking for it, and it's making me realize even more so what I do want, what I value, what I need. And I just want to make sure I don't make these mistakes that I made throughout this with the next one, because I am 36 now and I'm running out of time every day to I got to get it right eventually.
All right. So before we wrap it up, I just wanted to put 3 minutes on the clock and ask you 20 questions, rapid fire, just to
Rapid
really
fire.
kind of some rapid fire questions in 3 minutes. Are you ready? You ready for
I'm
this? Okay.
ready.
We're gonna
Don't
start
get
the
in trouble,
clock.
Ryan.
Okay, let's start the clock. All right, the zombie apocalypse is coming. Who are the 3 people you want on your team?
Oh man, I'm not gonna leave my dog. I want my dog. I want Dallas Ryan, and I want my English friend because I feel like I don't know English people might be as scary as the zombies.
All right, you got to go fast.
Yeah.
What is your most used emoji?
The face palm or the dancing little senorita.
Who is your childhood actress crush?
Uh, Emily Van Camp off of Revenge. She was on I can't remember the WB show.
All right,
Everwood.
time talking too long. You have your own late night talk show. Who do you invite as your first guest?
Probably my crush. Probably probably the Revenge Emily Van Camp again.
Okay, if you had to eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I could eat grilled chicken every meal in my life.
If you were left on a deserted island with either your worst enemy or no one, which one would you choose?
Oh, I'm taking the worst enemy. I would go nuts by myself.
If aliens landed on Earth tomorrow and offered to take you home with them, would you go?
I would run as fast as possible. No, hell no, I'm
What
not getting on that.
What is the favorite item you bought last year?
Favorite item I bought last year?
Hmm.
Roomba, because I hate dog hair.
What sport would you compete in if you were in the Olympics?
Tennis for sure.
Teleportation or flying?
Flying.
If you had a time machine, would you go back in time or in the future?
I think I'd go back in time. I'm a big
Popcorn
Oregon
or
Trail fan. Sorry.
All right, okay. Popcorn or M&Ms?
Both. Mix them up.
What is your cell phone wallpaper?
Cell phone wallpaper is my dog.
You could have unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life. Would it be sushi or Scotch tape?
Ooh, man. Sushi.
Are you a
I
good
don't know why.
dancer?
I can two-step a little bit. I just have to. If I have liquid courage, I think I can dance pretty well.
Would you rather lose all your money or all your pictures?
Pictures.
Would you rather give up your smartphone or your computer?
I would give up my computer for sure.
Would you rather be a superhero or the world's best chef?
I'm gonna go with superhero.
What did you have for breakfast this morning?
I'm on a juice cleanse right now, so I had a lovely juice.
Okay, biggest deal breaker in a relationship.
Biggest deal breaker. The confidence thing, 100%.
Boom, you did it with 17 seconds to
Oh man,
spare. Yay.
appreciate it.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, Ryan, for joining me. I really appreciate your candor and opening up to me. And I'm sure you've answered a lot of questions that a lot of people had about you in the season. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Queen.
Yes, yes.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.